Have you ever noticed how some men seem completely fine with you being happy until they realize they're not happy, or they get a hold to this red pill content? Because there are men who will see a woman going about her day, enjoying herself, looking good, feeling good, minding her business, and suddenly they need to do something to ruin it. They need to make her cry. They need to upset her. They need to embarrass her. They need to bring her back down. And if you've experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this becomes especially ugly inside relationships and marriages because some men become uncomfortable when a woman is doing too well, feeling too confident, or simply not suffering enough for them to feel like they have control. So they start creating problems. Maybe they withdraw affection. Maybe they become intentionally difficult. Maybe they stop helping around the house. Maybe they create unnecessary conflict. They embarrass her. They cheat. Maybe they deliberately do things they know will hurt her. And I'm using air quotes with these maybes because we know this happens. And then somehow she's the one expected to absorb the consequences. You'll even see women talk about this pattern. The moment they start becoming happier, more independent, more confident, or less emotionally dependent on their husband, suddenly the relationship becomes chaotic. And that's why I want women to pay attention to how a man responds to your happiness. Because a healthy man doesn't need you miserable to feel like a man. He doesn't need you exhausted to feel important. He doesn't need you crying to feel powerful. And he certainly doesn't need to create suffering in your life just so he can feel like he's in control of it. And what's crazy is that this can happen in ways that are so subtle that women don't immediately recognize what's happening. You finally get dressed up and feel beautiful, and suddenly he's making little comments about your appearance. You have a good day, and somehow he finds a way to start an argument. You're excited about something, and he finds a way to discourage you. You start taking better care of yourself, and suddenly he's accusing you of thinking you're better than everybody else. You start making your own money, becoming more independent, or building a life outside of him. And suddenly there's a problem with that too. Because for some men, your happiness isn't the issue. Your happiness without their control is the issue. And that's why humiliation becomes such a powerful tool to them. If he can embarrass you, make you question yourself, make you feel undesirable, make you feel incompetent, make you feel like nobody else would want you, then you become easier to control. And sometimes that humiliation happens privately. Sometimes it's public. Sometimes it's disguised as a joke. Sometimes it's disguised as I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just keeping it real. Sometimes it's disguised as I'm your husband. I'm supposed to keep you humble. What? No, you're not supposed to be systematically broken down by the person who claims to love you. And we need to stop romanticizing a woman being exhausted, overworked, emotionally drained, and constantly sacrificing herself as some kind of proof that she's a wife. She's a good wife. Because there are women who are doing everything in the home and still being made to feel like they're not doing enough. And then when they finally stop overextending themselves, suddenly they're lazy. When she stops tolerating disrespect, suddenly she's being too difficult. She's breaking up the family when she wants to get a divorce because she sees this is not how she needs to be living. When she stops crying and starts getting angry, suddenly she's bitter. When she starts planning her exit, suddenly everybody wants to ask, well, what happened? It can't be that bad. What happened is that she got tired of suffering just to keep somebody else comfortable. And that's the part I really want women to understand. You need to pay attention to how a man responds when you stop suffering for him. Does he appreciate you more? Does he step up? Does he want to make your life easier? And I honestly still wouldn't want him then because why I had to suffer? Why I had to be humiliated? Or does he suddenly start looking for ways to punish you for no longer making his life easier? I definitely would get away from him because that tells you a lot. A healthy relationship should not require one person to consistently lose for the other person to feel like they're winning or satisfied. You should not have to be exhausted for him to feel like a good husband. You should not have to be insecure for him to feel desirable. You should not have to be miserable for him to feel powerful. And you absolutely should not have to be humiliated for somebody else to feel important. You'll even see women talk about this pattern. The moment they start becoming happier, more independent, more confident, or less emotionally dependent on their husband, suddenly the relationship becomes very chaotic. I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. So if you notice that somebody consistently seems to be looking for ways to ruin your good days, disturb your peace, embarrass you, or make you suffer when you're doing well, stop dismissing that pattern. We just talked about patterns with family. Well, you need to be watching this behavior too. And then they might try to say something like, well, I'm just showing you how I feel. You come hollering at me about this and that. No, I'm pretty sure you have a valid reason to be upset because he hasn't took the trash out and it's been overflowing for 3 days. Stop dismissing those patterns because sometimes the problem isn't that you're too happy. The problem is that somebody has become accustomed to having power over you through pain, through your pain. And you don't have to keep participating in that. It is okay to leave. Stop feeling bad for leaving. Stop feeling like something's going to happen to him if you're not there. That man was living life before you. He can live life without you. This is Pretty Girl Rich Era, where we heal, level up, and become the best version of ourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, loves.